to About 6 Acres. My name is Nick. I want to welcome you to our homestead. And since the sun is out shining today, it's beautiful and the birds are singing, let's take you on a tour. Welcome to our southwest property here in front of the house. Something that we're new to is an aerobic septic system. We can't really do much with this land except to keep it mowed and enjoy it when the birds come.
I think one of the future plans that we have for this area is really to put some plants that can live out here. For example, some ornamental plants or some flowers.
You see this lovely shaded trees of red cedars, sweet gums, oaks, and I know we have a sassafras tree somewhere in there, but we're heading up alongside of the house where we were lucky to find some of these trees right here that are American persimmon trees. So 2 trees that will provide fruit for us, small little orange, very sweet. I kind of equate it to almost like a honey and cinnamon type consistency when they're ripe. When they're not ripe, they will make your mouth pucker and dry it out. So make sure you eat ripe ones.
Yes, and right below we have some wax myrtles. We tried to trim them out a little bit because they were going very, very crazy. But those are really cool because they just, the leaves, when you cut them, they just smell really, really good. And
you can crush them in your hands and smell them. And they're even used as like a natural insect repellent. And then the berries that grow on them produce that little wax. So I've been told you can take the berries, you're gonna need a lot of them, boil it down, and then the wax will float to the top. And that's what they make those bayberry candles from. Gives it that Christmassy like smell. Right, let's take a quick hike through our woods. We come through an area where there's a lot of native grasses and forbs, and we have a trail that was set from cows going through the property originally. Got a lot of fallen trees that we got to take care of that have fallen into the back fence, and some fencing issues we need to repair. But a lot of cool plants, American beautyberry, a lot of vines, some even box turtles we've seen. But it all heads up down by a creek where there's some water moccasins and other snakes. And because of the sloping again, we do have some drainage issues and a little marshy area that fills up with rain.
like I said, one of the things about this property is that it did have so many items that we could use for us.
Yeah, and that's super important, but that's what we're learning too, is the balance between using good quality resources that are here or purchasing new items that will last longer. So try to find that balance. If something is in good shape or reuse it, got to have a plan for it. We have some areas that are still overgrown with weeds, that has trash that we haven't really got a chance to mow yet. We have some burn piles that were left on the property that we're cleaning out. But we also have some native grasses within these weeds that I've left over the winter for the migrating birds to eat or any other animals.
In this area, looking back to where the apple trees are, there's an area that we marked off specifically for peach trees. Peach trees do really, really well here in East Texas, but also it happens to be one of Nick's favorite fruits. It might be your favorite fruit. I might be more the apple person.
My favorite fruit.
Yeah, exactly. So we have a few planted here. We were going to try or test to see how these did before we added more.
So we did 2 varieties. We have a dwarf variety in our red skin peaches, and then we have our Alberta peaches. We have 5 of each, and those are planted around the same time as our apples. And we did the same thing. We put daffodil bulbs around it. They've been pruned out. So this is going to be our first year. Don't expect much. It's supposed to be 2 to 5 years that we get any substantial peaches if they survive. Our apples take 5 years, a little bit longer, but crossing our fingers, we'll be blessed that they'll come a lot sooner. So this area that we've cordoned off for our peaches, we've called
Freestone Field.
Freestone Field, because of the variety of peaches. There's freestone, where the pit is called the stone, and it easily moves around, doesn't connect to the flesh of the peach. And then there's the cling variety, which is clings to that flesh when you pull it out. It's not easy to pull out.
So Freestone Field actually faces where we planted some wildflowers. Wildflower seeds, which are native to this area specifically. Again, with wildflower seeds, we don't expect much this first year. It usually takes about 3 years. I want to say it's 100 by 20 feet or so.
It runs from our sweet gum tree there,
near where the blackberries are,
to a little wooden post there. And again, we got from a Native American Seeds .com. They have a pollinator seed packet that you can get, so we ordered enough to put down, and I had success using that at our other place in the suburbs where we grow wildflowers native to Texas in our region. And the saying goes, for natives, it's the first year they will sleep, which means they're starting to establish their root systems. You're not going to get a lot of showy flowers. The next year they will creep, so you're going to get a little bit more variety in the species you're going to get. And then the third year is what they call leap, so you're going to get an explosion of the different varieties coming out of wildflowers, and then you have to maintain that. So let the seeds fall back down, don't mow it, let it grow, let the animals, let the birds come and enjoy the seeds. Super important, because we want to attract pollinators, right? Our native bees, our butterflies. We are in that butterfly way station area for the monarchs that go down to Mexico every year and they come back. So we want to have food source for them. But we also want our peach trees and our apple trees in our garden to be pollinated. So that pocket prairie that's out here is right in the middle of both. So we hope that by feeding the beneficial organisms and the beneficial insects, that we will benefit in our garden and our orchard.
Okay, now we head to the most exciting part of our homestead, our goats. So let's meet Lucy and Midnight.
What do we use this enclosure for?
For our goats, of course.
Our goats. Our lovely Lucy is our white and polka dotted doeling, and then Midnight is our black with white moon spots. She's the one that's milked Midnight. So if you haven't had a chance, check out the little videos on Instagram that we have of them, get to know them. Yeah. So they are new. They've been here about a week, so they're still getting used to their new digs.
And we're getting used to them as well.
So we'll have a video up shortly on how we remodeled this little shed and extended the roof to make a new lean-to so the water drains off the back, how we painted it, how we came up with the colors and put our half door on, all while reusing resources that we already had on the homestead.
Our way towards the northwest side of the property, and that's where the container shed is. And right now we don't have a full plan for the container. We're probably going to use it as a shop while we can, because it has electric and it has water.
And we nicknamed it the Upper East Side, you know, being from New York originally, you know, outside of the city. You know, we call it the Upper East Side because obviously it's, you know, UES, but it's got connections on it for RVs and everything. Originally, my goal with this was to go in and insulate it in the inside, paint it, sterilize it, because I wanted to grow some oyster mushrooms and shiitake mushrooms in here. But we might have to pivot on that for a little bit, because again, there's a certain amount of work that's maybe a little bit above my skill level right now. So we got our goats first, which I'm happy about.
And that's, like I said, one thing that we've learned here is we constantly have to adapt and evolve and change and really try to use the materials as best we can for that time. So for now, you know, it's more of a wood workshop, but later on it might turn into exactly what Nick needs, or something else that we might need even.
Okay, we're going to speed this up as we head toward our garden area. We're going to pass by some storage rooms where we have our seeds going and our goat supplies. We're going to pass our tool sheds to our backyard where we are growing stuff.
Enter our backyard garden area that we're turning into. This is going to be our primary growing area for our raised beds.
As you can see, this is some of the area where we took down fence panels in order to get the goat shed to be draft free.
And you know, our goal is probably to take all of them down and put a little smaller fence in to make it more of a garden area that we can look out from our kitchen, for our rooms. Again, everything is on a slope, so we got to deal with that. Luckily, we have, you know, 2 concrete pads that we can put on each side for when we get our greenhouse. But we went ahead and we have 4 raised beds from Vigo Garden right now, and you can see our video progress later on how we built these beds. Right now we have one that's complete and that has some plants in it. And we have our garlic and our strawberries. Look at that. We already have a strawberry. They survived the freeze. So this is our first time growing strawberries and garlic. We do have to do some chores and pull some weeds, but that's all good.
Which is okay. It's Juana's favorite thing.
Here we got I call these the inherited beds. So when we bought the property, there was these vegetable raised beds here that were still producing tomatoes
and basil.
So this is when we put in the zucchini, eggplants, kohlrabi, and cabbage.
We planted onions.
Onions.
For someone, aka me, who hates onions, we sure planted a lot. So we'll have to figure out different creative ways to use the onions without Juana tasting the onions.
So we got our yellow onions in that first bed, our red onions over here, and then these little tombstones mark our potatoes. So we have our lovely red stone, which goes for our red potatoes. Lovely yellow piece of wood, which goes for our Yukon Gold potatoes. And our purple tombstone head place marks our row of purple potatoes, which is going to be our first time growing potatoes at all. Actually, we tried growing potatoes before, big fail. Make sure you read the whole article on how to grow potatoes instead of just a headline. Inside joke. If you want to learn more, let us know. And then just our baby remnants of our red onions. So these were the smaller, these onion plants that were left in the bundle that we got, and they were pretty cheap. You got for how many dollars? Maybe $5, less than $5. You got about 70 onion plants. That's pretty good.
If they all come out, it'll be extremely good.
We did try growing onions before, and I just put an end of a red onion in the ground, and it started to grow, and I said, let's see what happens. So I can post a picture of what that ended up looking like. Did not look like an onion.
But it tasted like an onion.
Anyway, we thank you for joining our little tour. Drop us any comments on if you're planning on homesteading. Maybe let us know.
If you think homesteading is hard, let us know. If you think homesteading is easy, let us know.
And if you're having fun homesteading,
Well,
let us know.
Yeah.
Again, like, subscribe, share, hit the notification button. We'd like to see more of what's going on here at about 6 acres.
Thank you.
Till next time. Hello, y'all. I'm Nick. This is Miss Chuckles.